This week, I'm talking about the Nintendo Switch's brand new feature that was kind of there the whole time, and the PlayStation 5 SSD upgrade is officially available. So let's go ahead, together, as a people, and check it out! And welcome to another sensational Sunday. I'm Mike, and before we hop into the Nintendo and PlayStation stories, I want to do a quick follow-up about a subject I've been covering the last 2 weeks, and that is the new variant of the PlayStation 5. So this will be pretty brief. Basically, if you haven't been following along with it, there is a new revision of the PS5 with a smaller cooler, and then initially it was thought that it might be worse than the original one, and then some new testing was done last week by Igor's lab. Now there's been even more testing done. Gamers Nexus teamed up with Digital Foundry. And overall, the consensus is it really doesn't matter that much. Like there's not a significant difference in the temperatures between the original PS5 and the revision. The new PS5 is just like a half-pound lighter because the cooler is smaller, but they basically just made it more efficient and made it lighter. I did watch the Gamers Nexus video. They also redesigned the inside of the shell to change the airflow a little bit on the new model. It's really interesting. I do recommend going out there to watch it. Just seek it out, like Gamers Nexus PS5. Put that in your Bing search. Y'all use Bing, right? It's popping. But yeah, it was a really good video. And overall, like I kind of started to suspect last week, it really doesn't matter. They also mentioned in the Engadget article that because that information that got out there that the original PS5 might be better as far as cooling, like the prices had gone up on the second market, so scalpers were taking advantage of that. So definitely don't fall into the mindset of thinking you need to get a launch PS5 versus like the revision. It really doesn't matter. With that out of the way, let's hop over to Nintendo land. So Nintendo did a weird thing this week where they released like a firmware update that finally enabled Bluetooth headphones to be used with the Switch after 4.5 years of this thing being on the market. Obviously, it had Bluetooth because the controllers connect via Bluetooth, but yeah, it was a little bit weird for them to just randomly enable this feature. Now, Ars Technica, they kind of tested it, and basically they said due to the lag, that is pretty bad, like it's almost not usable. So I'm going to be testing it for my video on Wednesday, so I'll have more on it because I have a bunch of headphones. If you follow my channel, you know, I just have a problem with buying headphones. But yeah, it's really weird. It's weird that they would just release this kind of unannounced after 4.5 years. Now, the other caveat with it is if you have headphones paired, you can only have 2 controllers paired, and each Joy-Con technically counts as a controller. So you can have 2 Joy-Cons, or you could have like a Joy-Con and a Pro controller if you're using Bluetooth headphones. That's kind of understandable because there's probably more of a bandwidth limitation. I know the Switch does have Bluetooth 4.1, but I'm wondering maybe if something to do with the quality of the chip that they use. And I'm wondering if they enable this feature because the Switch OLED's about to drop, and maybe that has like a newer, better Bluetooth chip, and they wanted to have feature parity with the OLED Switch since they said it's gonna be the same. So I'd be curious when that Switch OLED drops if the Bluetooth actually functions better. I'm also wondering if maybe this can be fixed over a firmware update in the future. We'll have to see, but yeah, it's available technically. You can finally use Bluetooth headphones with the Switch, which honestly I've wanted for a long time. I hated having to find like wired headphones when I was going somewhere just for the Switch. All right, and in our final story, another exclusive, world exclusive firmware update dropped this week, but for the PS5, and that is enabling the PS5 Storage Upgrade option. So now it's official. It went in beta in July. Now I finally went ahead and pre-purchased my SSD, so I'm going to go ahead and go through the upgrade process and make a video about it. That will be the following Wednesday after next. But I'll probably be releasing that because the SSD isn't going to be here until Wednesday probably. With that being said, it's basically here. So Sony has their specs page up, basically showing the requirements. It's essentially the same as it was in the beta. Sequential read speeds of at least 5,500 megabytes per second. So yeah, there still isn't like an official list from Sony of which drives that they recommend or that's compatible. But as I suspected, like as I speculated when the beta came out, like by the time this launches, third parties are already going to be like, oh, my drive works with the PS5. So I noticed when I was shopping the other day that Best Buy just has like a whole section under the SSDs that just says compatible with PS5. Ironically, the drive that I bought was not under that section. So it's not perfect, you know, not all the models that would probably work with the PS5 are under there, but it is a way to guide buyers to what they need if they're looking to upgrade their PS5 storage. So hopefully Sony gets out there with an official list of some kind of recommended drives. But the other thing that's interesting about this is Sony is actually, at least in Japan, they're releasing their own drive. So they're releasing this drive under Nextorage, which is like a sub-brand of Sony. It's listed as being compatible with the PS5. Right now, it's only available in Japan, and even on the YouTube video, like that advertising the drive, it still says like the functionality with all games is not guaranteed with this drive, which is kind of funny because it's like it's a first-party drive that they're selling, but even then they're still like skirting the responsibility of if something doesn't work right with it. They're being very careful about the wording with the storage upgrade and basically saying like, even if you buy a drive from us, you on your own if it doesn't work. The Verge also did an article about this, and they're basically saying it might actually not be a good deal because when they were translating the prices over to USD from yen, because right now it's only available in Japan, they said it's gonna be roughly $330 US. And another drive that they recommended was only $270 US when they translated it from yen. And I think realistically that drive's on like $180, so obviously there's still gonna be some, you know, differences in pricing even when you translate from yen. But for, let's say if it's $60 more roughly than the other drives in the same class, then yeah, it might kind of be a bad deal, especially if you're going from like around 180 to 240. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Sony does release this drive in the US and what the pricing is, because I think that would be like an attractive thing for a buyer, just knowing like, okay, I'm getting the first party Sony one, I don't have to worry about it, I don't have to worry about buying a heatsink or anything like that. You know, I already know it's gonna work. But if they kind of outprice themselves, it might make it a less attractive option for most people. I am glad that the PS5 uses standard SSDs because it's really going to bring the price down. I'm really wondering what the market's going to look like in a year or two for SSD prices, because people are going to be buying these up so they can upgrade their consoles. So that's pretty cool. That's all I got to say about that. Let me know what you think. If you have a PS5, are you already looking to upgrade your storage? I mean, it's got like 600 something gigs out of the box. I was like, I need to upgrade this immediately, and went out and bought a drive. Is anyone else going to test the Bluetooth audio on the Switch? Let me know how it is, and I will be back on Wednesday with my test of it. But until then, if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you get notified when I drop videos every Sunday and Wednesday. And until the next one, remember to always do at least 2 things at the same time.